self-doubt, failure, and why you need to keep on going. I think we all have days, if not sometimes extended periods of time, where we might experience self-doubt, especially in a field of creative expression like music. At times I think we can fall into a pit of self-doubt, feeling as though what we're doing with music is almost inconsequential. Beyond self-doubt, sometimes we can feel as though we've failed in one area or another. And in my opinion, failure can be highly subjective. Oftentimes, failure is just a quick stop on the journey to your ultimate destination. So for anyone who might find it helpful to hear, I want to start the day off with some words of encouragement and why I think you should shed your self-doubt and keep going toward whatever it is you're working toward, especially if you happen to be a guitarist and trying to play some creative music. The first thing to remember, and perhaps this is something I've talked about before, but I really can't stress this point enough. Every time you pick up the instrument, you sound like yourself. So by definition, your contribution with this instrument is unique. Every time you play a note on the guitar, it sounds like your hands. Just like when I play a note on the guitar, it sounds like my hands. Sometimes it can be helpful when you first pick up the instrument on a given day to say, well, by nature of being me, I sound like myself, and therefore my musical contribution or my creative contribution is like no other. The next thing that comes to mind is that your inherent uniqueness, in this case on the guitar, and your perseverance is likely going to be something that is noticed by other people, whether they tell you or not. Even if you personally are experiencing a moment of self-doubt, you never know who you're actually inspiring by persisting on this creative path that you're forging for yourself. There may well be a lot more people who are inspired by your uniqueness and your perseverance than you're aware of. The final thought that I have for you today is that I think the world needs your music and needs your creative musical expression. There's music that's emblematic of pretty much any time in recorded history. So what does this time sound like to you? What does the 2020s sound like to you in terms of creative musical expression? When I was a teenager, I was fortunate enough to meet one of my heroes, Chick Corea. And I only met him very, very briefly, but I shook his hand and he actually started talking to me for a moment. And he asked me, "What do you do? Are you a musician?" And we actually had a pretty deep little chat about music for just a few minutes. So think about that. Here's 17-year-old me having a chat to one of my heroes, Chick Corea. And just as he was about to walk away, he said something to me that I never forgot. He looked at me quite seriously and said, "The world needs more musicians." After our deep little conversation about music, he shook my hand, walked off into the night, and that conversation has made an impact on me to this very day. And I tend to agree with what Chick Corea said to me all those years ago. The world does need more musicians, and I think the world needs your creative expression. Let me know if you've been feeling any self-doubt, lack of motivation, or perhaps let me know if you've been feeling really creative. I certainly hope that you found this little discussion to be meaningful or helpful. I know I go through periods of self-doubt from time to time, but every time when I persevere, things tend to work out. As always, if you can, give this video a like, consider subscribing, and if you'd like me to help you with your guitar playing, join me at bensguitarclub.com. I'll see you next time.